Hi, my name is Shelley Gaza. I use she, her, hers pronouns. I am on the faculty in the School of Theater Arts and Dance at UNC. We have five major programs at UNC. We have a BFA in musical theater, a BFA in acting, a BFA in design and technology. Then we also have a BA in theater education that does include four-year teaching licensure in the state of Colorado. So unique in that you get your licensure within the 4 years. And then we also have a BA in theater studies, which can be a more general degree, and we can talk about the difference, certainly between a BFA and a BA. At UNC, our BA degree is mostly for students that are interested in playwriting or directing or theater management. A lot of times that BA is going to be for folks who want to go on to an MFA, say in theater management or playwriting or directing. So that's sort of an overview of what we have. Socrates can tell you about all of our music programs, but at UNC we have three schools in our performing and visual arts programs. We have a School of Theater Arts and Dance, we have a School of Music, and we also have a School of Art and Design. The difference between a BA and a BFA, generally, it's just, if you want to get in the nuts and bolts of it, it's just the number of credit hours within your major. A BFA program has more credit hours in your major than a BA program. At UNC, you're going to have 120 credits in your undergraduate degree, and it really has to do with how many of those credits are actually spent in your degree area, and then how that is balanced with your general education courses. At UNC, we're a liberal arts university, so we do kick you out of the studio, as we say, and make you go to science and history and all those great things that give you a well-rounded liberal arts degree. We believe at UNC that makes you a better artist, but you will still get an intensive conservatory style training at UNC, and certainly within those BFA programs. So maybe I'll just stop there as my intro kick. I don't know, and you'll all have stuff there.
Yeah, let me add a little more to that. My name is Socrates Garcia. I've been at UNC for 15 years now. I am in the jazz department, but my main job is as director of music tech. So I'm both a jazz composer and music producer engineer. So what we have several programs in the music area. One is the BM, which is the Bachelor's of Music, and then we have the BAs, we have several programs there. One of the new programs we have is what we call Latinx degree. It's a BA. It's the first Latinx degree in the country. And we have one that just opened up for recording arts and music business combined. That's my degree, and another professor of ours set off. And then we have the Latinx, and there's another version of it's culture and expression. That's another one. And basically, the big difference between the BAs and the BM is the amount of first, the audition process. That's one of the big things. For the BAs, you don't have to audition unless you are applying for scholarships. You go into the BA ungated. But for the BM, you have to audition. And for scholarships, you have to audition either way. It doesn't matter. Now, the BM is heavier on the music courses and the requirements for ensembles. The BA still requires ensembles and music lessons and all that stuff, but the requirements are a little less demanding, let's say. It's more about the general education of getting the BA. Still, if you go to the recording arts and music business degree, for example, the BA, you still get a lot of music lessons and ensembles and all that stuff. But it can be less daunting for some students that don't want to audition for, at the high level, like our ensemble, our Lab 1, which is now is Compass Jazz Orchestra, is one of the top ensembles in the country. It's been, I think, the best jazz ensemble 13 out of the last 15 years, college ensemble in the country, or 12 of the last 15 or something like that, by Downbeat magazine. So to get to that ensemble, you need to be at a high level. Now, for the other ensembles, we have many other ensembles that people can actually, some of them are not even audition-based. You just go and play. And some are audition-based. And depending on the ensemble, that's what you have to determine. But the BA is a little less demanding in that regard, and it's a more rounded program. The BM is specifically for music. Of course, it has all the normal core classes and the LA classes, but it's mostly the heavy music classes.
All right, hi again, everybody. I'm Shannon. I use she, her pronouns. I'm one of the Associate Deans of Admissions at St. Olaf College in Minnesota. And I'm excited to roll through all of our programs in more detail. But to start, I just want to say that I think one of the things that St. Olaf is known for in terms of its art programs is we have extremely high major and non-major involvement in the arts. So we have majors in music, theater, dance, and studio art. And there's really nothing that majors can do that non-majors can't do. So I see a lot of students, of course, coming and majoring in these areas. I think they're really fantastic programs, but it's also really common to see a physics major, double major in studio art, or a student on the pre-med track be in the highest level orchestra. There's a lot of, I think, just different combinations that exist. So I wanted to start there because I think that is a big part of who I see getting interested in St. Olaf and who it can be a good fit for. As far as our major programs, music is the one with sort of the biggest array of different major options. We, similar to what Socrates is saying, we have a Bachelor of Music degree, which has options that allow you to get a little bit more specific in different areas of music. So this is where the music education degree lives. It's where performance, like vocal performance or violin performance, those majors live. We have composition majors, and it's about 2/3 of the classes that you take over the course of your 4 years will be music classes if you do the Bachelor of Music path. The Bachelor of Arts music path, on the other hand, is about 1/3 of your classes that are music, which really mirrors like pretty much every other major at St. Olaf. So a lot of times we see people doing the Bachelor of Arts largely because they want to double major. It's kind of the one of the music degrees that's easier to do that with. But of course, a lot of folks doing the Bachelor of Music degrees as well. I think our music ensembles is where there's really high major and non-major involvement. We have 3 ambassador ensembles, the St. Olaf Orchestra, the St. Olaf Band, and the St. Olaf Choir. In the St. Olaf Choir, it's about 1/3 of students that are music majors, 2/3 of students that aren't majors. That choir tours domestically every year, internationally every 3 or 4 years. They were just in South Africa in the spring. So some cool, I think, again, just opportunities regardless of sort of your mix of interests that you have. And then finally, our dance, theater, and studio art majors are all bachelors of arts. We also have scholarships in all 4 of these areas, also for majors and non-majors.
Hello, everybody. My name is John Herbert. I'm from the Manhattan School of Music, and I'm delighted to see you all here. I think the most important thing on this journey here is to get as much information as possible. And we are very lucky to be around so many folks in the admissions community, educators, professionals, who are welcome to share. And we are here to support you, whether you're the kid, the parent, or a friend. And we are here to help you achieve your goals. And I think as a creative, it's about building the kind of creative life that is going to sustain you for many years. It is you want to be sustained while you were in school. Obviously, you want to be excited every day to go to class, to live up to your potential. And so that's going to look different for each of you. We're a unicorn. We do all music all the time. So we offer a Bachelor of Music all the way up to a Doctoral of Musical Arts. So it's about deciding, in this sort of experience, do you want all music coursework? Because that's what we do. So you're going to wake up every day surrounded by musicians, taking music theory and ear training, going to your orchestra, your private lessons, all those types of things. If that excites you and that's going to keep that passion burning inside of you, do that. If you're like, you know what, I want to take some literature classes and go to football games and do some other things, there's so many great options out there. So it's the type of environment that is going to sort of fan those flames to sort of get you excited about school when you're in school and then also later on. Many folks go on to be performing musicians. So that's why we offer a Bachelor of Music. People who play in the New York Philharmonic, people who are jazz, famous jazz musicians, people who are stars on Broadway. But then there are also folks who take that because they found a love of learning while they were in school, like Dr. Cynthia Boxrud, who is a really top-notch surgeon at USC. She has even a master's degree in piano performance. So she took that passion and moved forward to become a famous doctor. So so the Bachelor of Music, you're waking up, taking all music classes at MSM. Even your non-music classes are themed around music.
Let me add something else, something you said that got my attention too. When you go from the BMs, BAs, then you go to the masters and doctors. I know that you might think that's too far away from now, but we have the same things. We have the MM, Masters in Music, or Masters in Arts. Those letters mean something also. At UNC, for example, we have the DA, as opposed to a DMA or a PhD, which are three different things. The PhD is more on the side of research. The DMA is more on the side of performance. The DA is kind of in between. So if you think about it later on, and you don't know it, because when I was doing my master's, I didn't know what they mean. I learned during my master's, I go, oh, that's what it means. Those letters mean something. And, I already had done my BA. I was doing my MA. I didn't know what it was. And then I learned what it was after that.
Let's go back to John and starting this question, and then only one of you guys from UNC talk about the admission process. Tell us a little bit about the process for admission.
Yeah, so at every school, admissions folks are taking a look and seeing if you're a good fit for the school. And again, different types of programs, different goals. And I think I would advise everyone to show yourself in the best possible light for the type of program that you are applying to. So whether that's how you write the essay and how you prepare in that work. So think about what are they looking for and what is my lived experience up until this point. So for a Bachelor of Music, you're a musician, and we're focused on that. So the main thing is we want to know you can play really, really well. So up to your best potential. You can learn a lot about that level by tuning into live streams from various institutions that might be far away, attending local concerts to say hey, this is the level of playing that would be expected of me, or dancing or acting or anything like that. Sorry, I'm a musician, so I may gravitate towards musical terms. I think that, so it's about really making sure that you're prepared for that. So you have to put together a recording. If you're a classical violinist, if you're a jazz drummer, if you're a musical theater artist, you need to have a great recording that's with your application by December 1st. So you need to start thinking about that in your junior year. So know that there's an extra component that's really focused on the review of your musicianship and actually just being able to hear that and evaluate that. So there's an audition process that happens with that. So there's a pre-screen for many areas at MSM. For many selective majors at selective schools, you'll find that. And then those who pass through that pre-screen will be invited to auditions that happen generally in February and March. But the other components, just make sure that you don't recycle an essay that's about your engineering application. Make sure it's specifically to the school, and know that we're looking at different potential. So it's music specific, and make sure you show that in the best possible light, focusing on making sure you have great performance skills.
Yeah, I echo so much of what John said for thinking about the admissions process at St. Olaf as well. We take a really holistic approach to our admissions process, which is something that you'll likely hear a lot when we talk about admissions processes if you haven't already. And basically what it means is you all share a number of different elements in the application, right? We're looking at your transcript, we're looking at an essay, your activities list, letters of recommendation, and depending on who you are, what your experiences are, what your strengths have been, other things you've experienced in your life, the exact combination of how those things come together is going to be different. For some people, their fine arts application or music audition will really shine, and that'll be a big part of the application itself. For others, maybe it's the essay or a test score or whatever it is, but the combination can look really different. I think for us, we care The music major, both the Bachelor of Arts and the Bachelor of Music, are the only arts majors we have that have their own audition process to enter the major. For theater, art, and dance, the scholarships have audition process, but you don't need to apply to those majors specifically. But for all, encompassing all of them, I think we're really looking for passionate artists, but also really strong, sort of holistically engaged students as well. I think so much of our identity is being a liberal arts college, and I think, Shelley, this was something you said, but like we really believe that there is so much to be gained as an artist and a creative from taking classes that incorporate different perspectives. And so we care about you as a student as a whole and are looking for that alongside your artistic potential.
So the main difference at UNC, and this is you're going to hear some themes here. Our BA programs do not require an audition. So at UNC, I should also mention in the School of Art and Design, there are BA degrees, everything from studio art, which is sculpture, painting, drawing. We also have digital art, and we actually are launching a new animation and game design program at UNC. Those are BA programs, but you have to be accepted to the university. So you'll go through the regular application process for UNC. Also the same for the BA programs in our music school that Socrates was talking about, and also for us as well. The BA in theater studies is what we call non-gated. You go through the regular UNC application process. The BA in theater education does require an interview, so you'll interview with Dr. Mary Shetler, who's the head of our education program, and that's part of the admittance process for theater ed. For the BFA programs, then there is the audition process, and so for the BM, for the Bachelor of Music degrees. So so the audition, if you go to the website, it will tell you each program. It's slightly different. So for the musical theater program, there are song requirements, 2 contrasting songs, a monologue, and then also a dance call. For the BFA in acting, it is 2 contrasting monologues. And for the BFA in design and technology, there is a portfolio review. So it'll tell you what kinds of things that you'll want to assemble in a portfolio review for if you're looking at that design technology major. I do want to say, though, not to let sort of like John was saying, for these BFA programs, we are looking for students with a really high degree of talent and potential, but we really do focus on that potential piece. So if you've never prepared a professional portfolio, let's say you're an aspiring costume designer and you've never done a professional portfolio, please don't let that deter you from applying for our programs, because you can reach out to our faculty, and we're also looking for things like theoretical designs. If you took an art class in high school and you've got some really nice representation of your artwork, that is definitely applicable to your portfolio. So there are ways to get creative. Really what we want to do is get to see you as an artist. And so we want to see, even if you've never designed costumes for a full play before, that's okay. That we really want to encourage you to get to know us and to apply for our programs. For musical theater as well, if you've never taken a professional voice class, that's okay. We can help you prepare on your own. There's lots of ways to get your hands on some pre-recorded tracks that you can sing along to. There are ways to get creative about preparing for your auditions. And so if many of you probably have done this before, and yeah, I've auditioned for plays and musicals and I know what I'm doing, that's fantastic. But if there's anyone in the audience that feels a little bit really unsure about that, but they feel passionately that they do have skills and talents and aptitudes that would make them really ideal for our musical theater program, then reach out to us and we can help you prepare for those auditions and can give you a bit of a helping hand. However, like Socrates was saying, if that feels a little too intense, but you really feel passionately about being a theater major, then maybe the BA track is the right one for you. And like I said, that doesn't have an audition component. So.
One really quick thing to add that I know, John, you mentioned too, is I think whether you're a senior or earlier in high school, I think a good piece of advice is also just to look now at when the auditions are, what they require. I think it can just sneak up on you. And you still have time, right? There is still time to look into it, but so often it is on the front end of the admissions like process rather than being admitted and then going through these fine arts process.
Yeah, for sure. I'll let John talk about pre-screens because some of the programs you're looking at probably do have pre-screens. We don't have pre-screens at UNC, but that is a good term to know and to know what schools do that. So UNC, there's a few ways to audition. We do on-campus audition dates, and you can go to our website and it shows our first one's in November, there's one in February, again in March. Same thing for music. So you can come to campus. I always recommend that. If you can come to campus, it's a great way for you to just get a feel of the campus. And we are auditioning you, but we also know you're auditioning us. We want you to, meet people and feel the campus. We have a really beautiful campus, and you want to see like, oh, can I envision myself here? But we also go out on the road. So we do Unifieds as well. So UNC, so a lot of the schools will go to Unifieds. I think probably, yeah, you do. Oh, sure. So Unifieds are specifically for BFA musical theater and acting programs. So, and a lot of schools will sort of go to, they're in New York, Chicago, and Los Angeles. This year, UNC will, some schools, there's a list of schools that do all three of those cities. And basically you register for that, and then you can audition for a bunch of BFA programs at the same time. UNC, I think this year we're going to the Chicago Unifieds. We also go to things like we'll be at the Colorado Thespian Conference in December, and we do a big audition there. So if you're going to ThesCon, you can audition for us through ThesCon. We also go to some thespian conferences in Texas and Kansas and Washington State. So we kind of pop around the country as well. So Unifieds are a group audition that's a special thing for BFA programs. Then there's also a lot of thespian conferences. There's probably also music. I'm out of my league here with depth with other kinds of comparable music. Anyway, well, I didn't mean to put you on the spot. I realized, but that's what Unifieds are. And certainly that can be a great way for a bunch of schools to see you at the same time. But that also requires traveling to New York, Chicago, or LA, which can be really exciting for some people and really daunting for others. If it's daunting for you, you can skip the Unified thing and do it a different way. But that's what Unifieds are. And there is a way to, for instance, at Colorado Thespian Conference, all of the Colorado schools will be there, but also out-of-state schools come to ThesCon in Colorado and in Denver in December as well.
So these are processes designed to make it easier for you and the faculty who are doing this work. So when it comes, it's nice to hear about the National Thespian Conference. I miss having drama. That was really fun. I miss it. So you have these, so in the music world and also in musical theater, there's an audition process. So we can only invite so many people to the school, and we also want to make sure that if you are taking the time to come to the school, that it's worth the time and energy and money, quite frankly, to come to the school to have an audition. So we have a list of repertoire what in the music world. So it might be some excerpts from some orchestra pieces, some solos. In musical theater, it'll be like a monologue and a vocal piece. In jazz, it's going to be a jazz standard and a few other things. So there's set rep that you will need to audition on, and you will do that in person. Now, so that audition will happen in New York, the 3 New York schools. We plan it together on a spreadsheet over the past many years. So again, we want to make sure that it's easy for you to come and make one trip to the city. That generally happens in New York City between February and March, although many other schools start at the beginning of January. So to make sure that we keep to 24 hours in a day, and to make sure that it is worth everyone's while to come to campus to audition or submit a final audition. This is a pre-screen, so you will submit a video recording with some of the same requirements that are in the regular audition. So again, it's just to get a sense of your overall musicianship before we move on with the process. I would say when it comes to recording those pre-screens, you do not need to hire a professional recording studio. We all have 4K cameras in our pocket, and you can find a very nice Rhodes or Shure microphone that you can plug in to make a really solid pre-screen recording as well.
One thing with the music at UNC, at least, we have both in-person and video auditions. Video audition is a newer thing. Actually, like 5-6 years ago, that was not a thing. I remember one of our doctoral students that needed, she was from the Dominican Republic, I am from the Dominican Republic, and I advocated for her. I said, you want her here, but she's not going to come until she auditions. She's the pianist for the National Symphony Orchestra, so she's amazing. When they saw the audition, it's like, yeah, of course. She came and did her doctorate. But now we do video and in person. Now the cool part about in person is that, like Shelly was saying, and John was saying, I think too, you go to the place, you meet the people in person, you actually see them in the eye, you see the facilities, you see everything, you see if you like the place. Because it's important, you're going to be 4 years in that place. It's important that you feel comfortable. It's not only like that we want you, you have to want us too. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense. If you're going to be miserable, it doesn't make sense. I mean, I'm very honest with that, because I don't like seeing my students. I like to see my students happy, not coming to my class like, ugh, I have to go to your class.
It's kind of like a vibe check. We're all a little bit different. You got to find the vibe that matches you. I supervise financial aid, so I'll kick it off. It's hilarious to my parents, they are a mathematician and a scientist, that I do this now. But it is, again, financial aid, we are here to help make college possible for you. It's a big investment, but it is an investment that you have with you for the rest of your life. And with big investments like that, it's expensive. Your house is expensive, your cars are expensive, the instruments we buy are expensive. So I encourage you to step back for a moment and think about that. Where do you want to go, and how financially can you get there? Adults, we've all been there. This makes sense to us. Young people, you're about to be adults, and you can pay bills for the rest of your life. So it is going to feel really uncomfortable to have these conversations. Give yourself permission to feel uncomfortable in this moment. It is important for the family, or even whether that's a traditional family or a non-traditional family, whoever's helping you pay for school, talk about it at the outset. Price should never get in the way of applying to a school that you think is a great fit for you. We are all committed to making that happen. I can speak. Our director of financial aid is first-generation Latina. She went through everything to make college happen for her, and she will sit and have a conversation. If you're applying to MSM, Ellen will sit down and talk with you till the cows come home. So know that we're here to help make that happen. So understand what you are capable of paying financially, and sort of what the loan debt burden you're willing to take on versus your earning potential is going to be. So that's sort of the big thing. Here's this education that's going to get you to where you want to go in life and be inspired. Make sure you get an undergrad degree of some sort. Get that and you're good. So then it becomes, we need to assess from our perspective what your financial capacity to pay is. So now we're getting into really exciting stuff. There is the federal so it's the FAFSA, that's for federal aid. Hopefully it will go smoother this year. They've designed it, and I know it's their best intentions, to try to make the process much easier, so that like tax information works in. So this is the federal aid that allows us to understand from the federal government's perspective, what are your earnings and what is that capacity to pay. So that is, so that's need. We also have some other metrics for taking a look at that. The CSS profile is by the College Board. We use that to assess financial situations for international and domestic students from the United States. We want to make sure we're being fair to everyone. So we're assessing that for need. And then there is merit. So we want to reward hard work. Our strong application at MSM, whether that's music, obviously your playing is going to be, or your acting or anything like that is going to be the strong artistic point, but that's your merit. So it's like, this is what you bring to the table as an artist, and this is what your family's or personal situation is to pay. And so then we take a look at that and we want to say, okay, now we understand where all of the applicants are, and with the money we have, how can we help you the best that we can? And so then you will get an offer. And then we all make different types of offers. So need-based aid is going to be only based upon the assessed need of your family, saying like, you are able to pay this much a year for your financial aid. Whereas merit is like, you're so great, we're just going to throw the money at you. Some schools only do merit, and they'll say, you had a great audition, you were the best jazz saxophone player we've ever heard. We're going to give you a full ride or full tuition. It rarely happens, so don't count on it. But then there are other schools who are like, you know what? We want to make sure we understand your family's financial situation, and we want to make sure we know where it's at, and we know how we can award to help you based on that situation. So you have this over here, merit solely over here, need solely over here, and then where the Manhattan School of Music sits is need aware. So we're right in the middle. We take a look at merit and need, and we try and find a package that sort of fits both situations. It can be stressful. Sometimes don't let it be stressful, much like this whole experience, as my colleagues were saying. Just start early. I know that as musicians, folks tend to ignore this type of stuff. These conversations I have with students, oftentimes you might not naturally be a money person, but it is, make sure that you don't just tuck it away so that it gets too late, like an audition. So just, I would say, know that we are here to help you understand the process. It can be complex. There is an incredible network of financial aid professionals across this country who are deeply committed to this work. Regardless of the school that you are applying to, reach out if you have questions. And as a family, make sure you have discussions about that. And at the end of the day, we're all just trying to help you get a degree doing your passion.
I just have one thing I've said that you just thought about. Just having done this, to your point about reaching out, everyone that's working on this side of the table, whatever school you're talking to, they're there to really be a resource for you. So they want to hear from you. I know it's scary to think about reaching out, but ask any question you have, communicate with them. I think it really is a really important thing to do. And it's scary when you're on that side. So.
It's senior year, so I recommend starting researching the repertoire at the end of your junior year, because when you're young, you are advancing your musical skills, your creative skills of any type. You're making such progress all the time. By the time you get to the end of your junior year, you're probably as close as to the level that you will be when you apply that you can, with the amount of preparation time to like put together a portfolio or make a recording. So I think it's whether it's in theater or art or whatever your creative discipline is, to really speak to the wise people in your field at the end of your junior year, and just say, hey, this is, what do you think would be appropriate for me? And then make sure you use that summer before your senior year to really put your art together.
Definitely, if you have a
I'll keep it really quick. I just want to echo too, I think so often the price tag before any of the scholarships and grants are factored in can be so high, especially at private schools. Just to give you an example, at St. Olaf, our cost for tuition, room, and board is $73,000 a year. The average financial aid package is $55,000 a year. So it's different for everybody, but I just say that because I think it is so important to do your research. There are a lot of estimator tools on websites too that can start even before you apply to give you a sense about what that might look like, because while of course it's different for every student, it can be so different than that like sticker price.
And I would add that the sticker price is really just a reflection of the cost that it for the institution to provide that experience. So that is such a good point. So if you're wondering why is the price so high, well, we're paying for electricity and people and health insurance and things like that too. So yeah, don't be deterred by that. It's a number that serves a purpose, but can be somewhat misleading at times.
And one thing that you might find, I don't know if MSM or Olaf has it, but we do have a lot of, not a lot, but some donors that have given money to the school for this purpose. I mean, maybe you don't see it, in the brochure or something, but there's money that it's been given to the school by some people, some multimillionaire that decided to do an endowment or a grant to the school for people in need or merit, and those might be there for that particular degree.
We'd love to open it up for any questions about anything.
And don't be scared. Actually, one thing that people, like you said, on that side, they get scared from people on this side sometimes, because you might see a big divide. There's not that divide. We just literally want you to be the best you can be at your level now and get you to the point where you want to be. That's why you are doing this.
And I would also like to recognize parents that many of you did not get degrees in the creative arts, and this is very different from perhaps what you've done. Don't ever be embarrassed to ask questions either.
We all might have slightly different answers about that, but I can tell you sort of some general stuff. At UNC, we don't require or look at that. I would say it's really wise to start thinking about your digital footprint, to start thinking about your online presence. I think that's a thing that, and I'm a parent of teenagers, and we're thinking about that deeply at our house as well, and being very careful and sensitive about the online persona that we present. So I'm not saying that it doesn't matter sort of in the general sort of world sense of what, how do we represent ourselves on digitally. And certainly professionally, we will help. So at UNC, for our students, we do talk about developing your personal website. What are the things that you want on your website? What are the things that you want on your socials, your professional social media accounts, and all of that? So that is definitely something that you learn and that we'll sort of talk about during your training. It's not something that we in particular look at, though, as part of the audition or screening process.
Back from my days in portfolio days in visual arts, yes, start documenting. I don't think you should feel like you need to create to document, but I think that you should document what you create. Even if it's like, say, if you, during the pandemic, was working at another visual arts institution, we were doing portfolio reviews on Zoom, and we all had to become really, really digital really quickly. And for those, there's so many young creative people who are making such great art, and like just take it one step further, just take a photo, or and take it with great lighting from different angles. It makes all the world of difference. And I'm married to a visual artist as well, and it's that you want the next gig, and it's you have this experience applying to school, but again, this is training for life. So if you have a product and you want, this is sort of how you're trying to make a living, you want it to reflect you as best as possible, and you want it to be up to date. So sometimes we want to just enjoy, as you should, enjoy the thrill of the creative process. You have birthed something into the world, but just take an extra step to document that, whether that's visual, audio, anything like that. In the visual stuff, even if it's three-dimensional, make sure that you document your sculpture and things like that. Even if you're playing 16th century classical music, still record it.
Yeah, we have a few summer camps. We have a summer music institute that's 2 weeks every summer, open to high school students, and then we do a theater camp as well. And they're not through the admissions office, but I think they are such a great way to get a feel of the campus, especially if you're looking to incorporate some music or theater into your summer anyway.
Yeah, summer programs are a great opportunity, and I think it really depends upon the discipline. Number one, it should be something that you should have fun in the summer, and something that's going to going to lift you up. There's to the point of being able to visit a campus that allows you to, in a certain way, understand what it's going to be like to be in that space and sort of to exist there. That said, different summer programs are a little bit different. So to your point, many of our faculty, it's New York, it's stressful. So much like our orchestra comes over to Colorado, our faculty leave the city as well. So I would say if you're applying to music, so certainly the Aspen Festival, we have a number of faculty who spend their summers here. So that's a great opportunity for many musicians in the room. You probably have some of the faculty already in your backyard here. So I think in something that's specifically tied to it's teacher specific, especially in the world of music. Pick a program where you can maybe have one-on-one time with them. I met my undergrad teacher at a solo competition in Michigan, and I just was like, wow, this guy's great. I like spending time with him. So there's an opportunity to meet the teacher. It keeps your creative process and your growth going over the summer. It also allows you to go off and do something else for a bit. So I would differentiate between the ones that happen on the university or college's campus, because that's a great place great opportunity to sort of feel the space, and then you can sort of get a sense of the people, especially if it's a one-on-one mentorship type of study.
Yeah, well, at UNC we do have our jazz camp in July 7th to July 13th. It's an entire week of music, pretty much from the morning to well into the night. We have the house in there, we have everything in the dorms, and a lot of those students that go to the jazz camp actually keep going to the programs after that. You're going to meet, like John said, actual faculty from UNC working there. It's the same people you're going to study with if you go to the program. They are part of the jazz camp, and we bring people from other universities too, from New York, from Nashville, from different places. It's a great opportunity to get to know people that you might be the same people you're going to be working with for many, many years after that. My son and my daughter went to that both, and they still work with the same people from time to time that they met at the jazz camps, at our jazz camp.
I totally echo that point. I have friends that I went to summer camp with in high school who work at universities here, actually here in Colorado, elsewhere around the country and the globe. So it's you are entering a creative professional community, and start that now.
Somebody mentioned how soon start. That's a good way to start, because you're already meeting the professors and also some of the students that might be your classmates at some point. And I think for us, the minimum age, I think, is 15 or 12. My son was 9 when he did it. But I think 12 or 15, let me confirm that. You can go to the website and find it there, but I don't remember the grade 7 to 12.